In one of the most dramatic courtroom scenes in recent General Hospital history, the truth about the night Drew Cain was shot finally came to light, but not in the way anyone expected. As Willow Tate Cain faced sentencing for a crime she didn't fully commit, defense attorney Alexis Davis made a bold and controversial gambit that would change everything. She called Scout Courtroom to the witness stand, despite fierce objections from Drew and Willow themselves, forcing a frightened child to relive the moments that had torn her family apart and reveal a secret that shattered the carefully constructed lies built to protect her. The moment the courtroom fell silent, the tension in the courthouse was suffocating as Justine Turner, the prosecution's fierce attorney, prepared her closing arguments. Willow had maintained her composure throughout the trial, accepting what appeared to be her inevitable conviction, a sentence that would separate her from her children and destroy her life. But Alexis Davis, Willow's mother and a seasoned legal warrior, saw something that others had missed: an opportunity to expose the true culprit and save her daughter from a prison sentence she didn't deserve. Alexis realized that Willow wasn't protecting herself, she was protecting Scout. One courtroom observer noted during the proceedings. The realization struck like lightning. All along, Willow had been willing to sacrifice her freedom for her stepdaughter, and Alexis knew that if she could prove it, the entire case would unravel. Despite the vehement protests of both Drew and Willow, Alexis made the controversial decision to call Scout to testify. The young girl, trembling and visibly distressed, took the stand as the courtroom held its collective breath. Scout's tearful confession. Under the intense pressure of the courtroom, the weight of the judge's gaze, the whispers of curious onlookers, and the desperate pleas of her father, Drew, Scout finally broke. The girl, who had been carrying an unbearable secret for months, could no longer bear the weight of her lies. Through tears that streamed down her young face, Scout admitted the truth that would reshape the entire case. I had the gun," Scout confessed, her voice cracking with emotion. The courtroom erupted in shock. Gasps echoed through the chamber as journalists scribbled frantically in their notebooks and spectators leaned forward in disbelief. Scout explained through her sobs what had actually happened that terrible night. In a moment of anger toward her father, during a heated argument, the gun had found its way into her trembling hands. In the chaos of her emotions and the overwhelming situation, the firearm had discharged. Scout had pulled the trigger not with intention to harm, but in a moment of youthful rage and confusion. Willow's sacrifice revealed. But the revelation didn't end there. Scout's testimony exposed the true nature of Willow's actions on the night of the shooting. Willow hadn't been the shooter, she had been the protector. When Scout accidentally fired the gun, Willow had immediately rushed to action. She seized the weapon from Scout's hands, taking possession of it, absorbing the responsibility, and making the crucial decision in that split second to shield her stepdaughter from the devastating consequences of what had happened. She just grabbed it from me and told me everything would be okay, Scout tearfully recalled. She said I didn't need to worry, that she would handle it. Willow had then turned herself in as the alleged shooter, willing to face years in prison, facing the loss of her children, her freedom, and her future, all to spare Scout from being labeled a murderer. She had accepted the possibility of conviction, of a guilty verdict, of a sentence that could have resulted in decades behind bars, all for a child who wasn't even her biological daughter, but whom she loved fiercely. The courtroom's reaction. Drew, hearing his daughter's confession, appeared devastated and conflicted. While Scout's revelation meant that the shooting had been accidental, it also meant that his daughter had been responsible for shooting him. The emotional toll on the congressman was evident as he struggled to process the information. Yet even in that moment of shock, the larger truth became clear. Willow had chosen sacrifice over truth, protection over self-preservation. Justine Turner, the prosecution's sharp-tongued attorney, found herself in an unexpected position. The case she had built against Willow, built on circumstantial evidence, speculation, and the assumption of deliberate intent, suddenly crumbled. Scout's confession had fundamentally altered the narrative of the night Drew was shot. A mother's unconditional love. As the courtroom began to fully comprehend what had transpired, the weight of Willow's sacrifice became undeniable. She had been willing to spend years in prison, to miss her children's milestones, to lose custody of Wiley and Emmanuel to ensure that Scout would have a future unburdened by the label of murderer. Willow made a choice that night. Alexis declared to the court, her voice steady and powerful. She chose love over truth. She chose to protect a child, even when it meant destroying her own life. Whatever you decide regarding this case, you must recognize that Willow Tate Kane is no killer. She is a mother who made an impossible choice, and she chose to sacrifice everything for that child. The gallery fell silent. Even the hardened journalists covering the trial seemed moved by the revelation of Willow's act of unconditional love, the implications and aftermath. As the trial entered its final phase, multiple threads of the story hung in the balance. Scout faced an uncertain future now that her role in the shooting had been exposed. Though her status as a minor and the accidental nature of the incident would likely play a crucial role in any legal proceedings involving her, Drew would have to grapple with the fact that his own daughter had been responsible for the gunshot wound that had plagued him throughout his recovery. But most importantly, the question of Willow's fate remained uncertain. While Scout's testimony had demolished the prosecution's case that Willow had deliberately shot Drew with murderous intent, the legal complexities remained. Willow had confessed to possession of the weapon, had taken responsibility for the incident, and had covered up the truth. Whether a judge would view her actions as the desperate protection of a child or as obstruction of justice would determine whether she walked free or faced some form of legal consequence. The courtroom drama that had gripped Port Charles for months had finally reached its pivotal moment. And at the center of it all was Willow Tate Kane, a woman who, despite her own flaws and mistakes, had demonstrated a capacity for selfless love that transcended reason, logic, and self-preservation. Scout's testimony had exposed not a cold-blooded shooter, but a devoted stepmother willing to surrender everything for the child she loved. Next, we will learn about the explosive romantic turmoil brewing in Port Charles as three beloved couples face unexpected obstacles that threaten to tear them apart. The upcoming episodes promise passionate confrontations, heartbreaking revelations, and dramatic twists that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. Let's dive deep into these captivating storylines that are about to shake the very foundation of love in our favorite fictional town. Cody and Molly's romance novel dilemma. The relationship between Cody Bell and Molly Lansing Davis has blossomed into something truly special over recent weeks. After months of subtle glances and meaningful conversations, these two finally gave into their undeniable chemistry. Their recent passionate encounter left both of them breathless and eager to explore what could become a serious, long-term relationship. Cody has found himself drawn to Molly's intelligence, wit, and compassionate nature, while Molly admires Cody's rugged charm, honest demeanor, and the protective instincts he displays toward those he cares about. Everything seemed to be falling perfectly into place for this budding romance. They had overcome initial hesitations and were ready to commit to building something meaningful together. However, a significant complication is about to emerge from an unexpected source that neither of them anticipated. Molly has been quietly working on a romance novel, pouring her heart and creative energy into crafting a compelling love story. The problem: one of the main characters bears a striking resemblance to Cody himself. This fictional portrayal could become a major point of contention between them. Cody might feel exposed and vulnerable when he discovers that intimate details of his personality, mannerisms, and perhaps even private moments have been immortalized in Molly's manuscript. The question of artistic license versus personal privacy will come to the forefront of their relationship. Will Cody feel flattered by being Molly's inspiration, or will he feel betrayed that she used aspects of their connection without his explicit consent? The situation becomes even more complicated when Molly decides to pursue publication. Literary agents and publishers often encourage authors to leverage real-life connections and personal stories in their marketing campaigns. Molly may face significant pressure from industry professionals to reveal that her leading male character is based on her actual boyfriend. They might suggest promotional interviews, social media campaigns, and public appearances where Molly and Cody present themselves as the real-life inspiration behind the fictional romance. Cody, who values his privacy and has always been somewhat guarded about his personal life, will likely resist this commercialization of their relationship. He might argue that what they share should remain sacred and private, not exploited for book sales and publicity. This fundamental disagreement about boundaries between fiction and reality could drive a wedge between them, just as their romance is gaining momentum. The tension will escalate as Molly tries to balance her literary ambitions with Cody's discomfort, forcing both of them to examine what they truly value most. Lucy's romantic triangle unravels. Lucy Co. has been riding high on romantic optimism lately, convinced that she has finally found something genuine and meaningful with Jen Sidwell. After numerous failed relationships and romantic disappointments over the years, Lucy allowed herself to believe that this time would be different. She invested emotional energy into cultivating their connection, envisioning a future where she and Sidwell could build something lasting and substantial together. However, Lucy's romantic dreams are about to be shattered by forces beyond her control. Ava Jerome is positioned to become a significant disruptive force in whatever Lucy and Sidwell are building. Ava possesses the dangerous combination of beauty, cunning, and ruthless determination that makes her a formidable rival in any romantic competition. When Ava sets her sights on someone, she rarely fails to achieve her objectives, and it appears that Sidwell has captured her attention. The situation becomes infinitely more complex because of the strategic machinations of Laura Collins and Sonny Corinthos. These two powerful Port Charles figures have identified the romantic triangle involving Lucy, Sidwell, and Ava as a vulnerability they can exploit for their own purposes. Laura and Sonny are actively working to take Sidwell down, and they recognize that emotional entanglements can make even the most careful individuals careless and exposed. By manipulating the dynamics between these three people, Laura and Sonny hope to create openings in Sidwell's defenses. They might feed information to one party that creates jealousy or mistrust, orchestrate situations where Lucy witnesses Ava and Sidwell in compromising positions, or use emotional leverage to turn one of these individuals against Sidwell at a critical moment. The romantic chaos serves their larger strategic objectives perfectly. Lucy will find herself caught in the crossfire of these competing agendas. She may begin to notice Sidwell's attention wandering toward Ava, or she might discover that Ava is actively pursuing Sidwell with calculated precision. As Lucy watches her romantic prospects crumbling, she will be forced to confront some uncomfortable truths. Perhaps Sidwell was never truly committed to her in the first place, or maybe the connection she felt was one-sided from the beginning. This painful realization might ultimately prove to be a blessing in disguise for Lucy. Sometimes the universe prevents us from pursuing relationships that would ultimately prove harmful or unfulfilling. Lucy may come to understand that her destiny lies elsewhere, with someone who truly appreciates and values everything she brings to a relationship. The heartbreak she experiences now could pave the way for genuine happiness in the future. Nathan and Lulu's complicated new romance. The chemistry between Nathan West and Lulu Spencer has been building steadily, creating anticipation among viewers who have watched their friendship deepen into something more profound. After spending considerable time together, sharing confidences and supporting each other through various challenges, Nathan and Lulu are finally ready to acknowledge that their feelings have evolved beyond simple friendship. The emotional connection they share has become impossible to ignore. Recent developments suggest that Nathan and Lulu are on the verge of crossing that crucial boundary from friends to romantic partners. The tension between them has reached a breaking point, and all signs indicate that they will share their first kiss very soon. This moment promises to be electric, charged with all the pent-up longing and attraction they've been suppressing. Both of them have been cautiously optimistic about exploring this new dimension of their relationship. However, their timing couldn't be worse. Just as Nathan and Lulu prepare to embark on this romantic journey together, a monumental event will dramatically alter the landscape of their lives. Maxie Jones, who has been in a coma, is finally awakening. Her return to consciousness represents a miracle that everyone has been praying for. But it also introduces tremendous complications for Nathan and Lulu's nascent romance. Maxie's awakening will force Nathan to confront emotions and obligations that he thought he had processed and moved beyond. The history between Nathan and Maxie is deep and complex, filled with love, pain, and unresolved feelings. When Maxie opens her eyes and sees Nathan, all of those old dynamics will come rushing back. Nathan will find himself torn between his developing feelings for Lulu and his complicated history with Maxie. For Lulu, this situation presents an agonizing dilemma. She cares deeply for Nathan and was excited about the possibility of building a future with him. However, she also understands the significance of Maxie's return and the emotional weight that Nathan must be carrying. Lulu may choose to step back graciously, giving Nathan the space and time he needs to sort through his feelings without pressure or guilt. This selfless decision would speak volumes about Lulu's character and the depth of her feelings for Nathan. The romantic momentum between Nathan and Lulu will likely come to an abrupt halt, at least temporarily. They may mutually agree to pause their romantic exploration while Nathan navigates the complex emotions surrounding Maxie's recovery. This interruption doesn't necessarily mean the end of their potential relationship, but rather a postponement until circumstances become clearer. Several scenarios could eventually allow Nathan and Lulu to rekindle their romance. If Maxie chooses to reunite with Damian Spinelli, that would remove one major obstacle and give Nathan clarity about his romantic future. Alternatively, Nathan might realize during this period of reflection that his feelings for Lulu have become too strong to suppress, regardless of Maxie's return. Sometimes separation clarifies what we truly want and need in our lives. There's also the possibility that both factors will come into play simultaneously. Maxie might recognize that her future lies with Spinelli, while Nathan discovers that his connection with Lulu represents something profound and irreplaceable. The combination of these realizations could pave the way for Nathan and Lulu to finally pursue their relationship openly and without guilt or complications. Next, we will learn about the fascinating approach that beloved General Hospital star Steve Burton and his wife Michelle Lundstrom are taking toward the traditional New Year's resolution phenomenon that sweeps across the nation every January. Their refreshing perspective on health, fitness, and sustainable lifestyle changes might just revolutionize how you think about personal growth in 2026. Over the weekend, the power couple took to Instagram to share an intimate glimpse into their philosophy on self-improvement and wellness. The casual yet meaningful reel featured Steve and Michelle enjoying a peaceful stroll together, creating the perfect backdrop for an important conversation about commitment, consistency, and the psychology behind lasting change. What they revealed might surprise many of their followers who expected the typical January motivation speech that floods social media feeds this time of year. Michelle's revolutionary stance on resolutions. In a move that might seem counterintuitive at first glance, Michelle Lundstrom made a bold declaration that she won't be making any new resolutions for 2026. Before you jump to conclusions about complacency or lack of ambition, let's dive deeper into her reasoning. Michelle's decision stems from a much more sophisticated understanding of human behavior and sustainable change than the average person possesses. She's not avoiding resolutions because she's reached perfection, though her husband Steve might playfully suggest otherwise. Rather, she's chosen to embrace a philosophy of continuous commitment that transcends the artificial boundaries of calendar years. The truth is, Michelle has observed a pattern that health and fitness professionals have documented for decades. Every January, gyms overflow with eager newcomers armed with ambitious goals and brand new workout gear. Social media platforms become saturated with declarations of transformation and change. However, by mid-February, these same spaces grow quieter as motivation wanes and old habits creep back in. Michelle has witnessed this cycle repeat itself year after year, and she's decided to opt out of this predictable pattern entirely. Instead of relying on the arbitrary turning of a calendar page to spark motivation, Michelle and Steve have built their lives around consistent, year-round commitment to health and wellness. They don't need a specific date to remind them to prioritize their well-being because they've integrated these values into their daily existence. This approach eliminates the pressure of perfection that often accompanies New Year's resolutions and replaces it with sustainable habits that become second nature over time. The power of community support. One of the most compelling insights Steve and Michelle shared with their General Hospital fanbase revolves around the concept of accountability and peer support. They emphasized repeatedly that attempting to overhaul your lifestyle in isolation is one of the quickest paths to failure. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and we thrive when we feel connected to others who share our goals and understand our struggles. The couple stressed that having a support system isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential for long-term success. Steve elaborated on the importance of having what he called checks and balances in your wellness journey. When you're accountable to others, whether it's a workout partner, an online community, or a structured program, you're far more likely to show up even on days when motivation is lacking. This external accountability can bridge the gap between fleeting inspiration and lasting transformation. The couple has seen firsthand how people who engage with supportive communities maintain their commitment far longer than those who try to go it alone. The Locked-In Challenge unveiled. Building on their philosophy of community-driven wellness, Steve and Michelle announced their newest offering, the Locked-In Challenge. Set to launch on January 12th, this program represents their commitment to providing structured support for women who are serious about building sustainable health habits. The course isn't just another generic fitness program, it's a comprehensive approach to wellness that addresses the foundational elements often overlooked by traditional workout plans. The challenge has already generated significant buzz among their followers, with the comment section filling up with excited participants ready to commit. What sets this program apart is its focus on education rather than just exercise routines. Participants will learn the science behind macros and nutrition, empowering them to make informed decisions about their eating habits long after the challenge concludes. Michelle, who has developed quite a reputation as a knowledgeable foodie, will be sharing her expertise on creating delicious, nutritious meals that support fitness goals without sacrificing flavor or satisfaction. One particularly intriguing component is the 5-minute morning routine that the program promises to teach. In our fast-paced world, where everyone claims to be too busy for self-care, a routine that takes only 5 minutes eliminates the excuse of time scarcity. This brief but powerful start to each day can set the tone for better decisions throughout the remaining hours, creating a ripple effect of positive choices. The program is specifically designed with women in mind, acknowledging the unique challenges and considerations that female bodies experience. From hormonal fluctuations to the mental load many women carry, the Locked-In Challenge addresses these factors head-on, rather than pretending they don't exist. Michelle's involvement ensures that the program isn't just theoretically sound, but practically applicable to real women living real lives. Accessibility and free resources. Steve and Michelle are well aware that not everyone has the financial flexibility to invest in structured programs, especially right after the expensive holiday season. Medical bills, holiday debt, and everyday expenses can make self-improvement courses seem like an impossible luxury for many people. Understanding this reality, Steve has made it a priority to share valuable content completely free through his social media platforms. His Instagram feed regularly features insights on mindset, motivation, and practical wellness tips that anyone can implement without spending a dime. From quick workout demonstrations that require no equipment to mental strategies for overcoming obstacles, Steve provides genuine value to his followers regardless of their ability to purchase formal programs. This generosity has built tremendous goodwill within his community and demonstrates that his commitment to helping others extends beyond commercial interests. Those who follow Steve consistently report that his free content alone has helped them make significant progress toward their goals. His authentic approach and willingness to share his own struggles and victories creates a relatable narrative that inspires others to keep pushing forward even when progress feels slow. Community response and engagement. The response to Steve and Michelle's announcement has been overwhelmingly positive, with numerous fans expressing their intention to participate in the upcoming challenge. One enthusiastic ABC General Hospital viewer commented that they had already signed up for the January 12th start date, eager to begin their transformation journey with the support of the Burton community. Others chimed in with questions about the program details, creating a lively dialogue in the comments section. The excitement is palpable among those who have been waiting for an opportunity to work directly with Steve and Michelle. Previous participants in their courses have shared glowing testimonials about the lasting impact on their lives, noting that they learned skills and habits that extended far beyond the duration of the program itself. Nobody has complained about feeling misled or disappointed by the content delivered, which speaks volumes about the integrity and quality of what the couple provides. The philosophy behind sustainable change. What makes Steve and Michelle's approach so effective is their understanding that true transformation isn't about dramatic overhauls or extreme restrictions. Instead, it's about building small, consistent habits that compound over time. They teach that sustainability trumps intensity every single time. A moderate workout routine that you'll actually maintain for years will always produce better results than an extreme program that you abandon after 3 weeks. Michelle's decision to forego traditional New Year's resolutions isn't a rejection of growth or improvement. Rather, it's an acknowledgement that she's already living in a state of continuous evolution. She doesn't need the 1st of January to remind her to prioritize her health because she's surrounded herself with people, systems, and habits that keep her accountable every single day. This is the ultimate goal for anyone serious about lasting change, to reach a point where healthy choices become automatic rather than something requiring constant willpower and decision-making. The couple's message resonates because it strips away the mythology and marketing hype that surrounds the fitness industry. They're not promising miraculous transformations in 30 days or selling magic solutions. Instead, they're offering education, community, and realistic strategies that acknowledge the challenges while providing practical pathways forward. If you're interested in learning more about the Locked-In Challenge or want to stay updated on Steve's free wellness content, make sure to check out their Instagram profiles and send them a direct message. The challenge begins on January 12th, and spaces may be limited given the personalized attention the program promises. Whether you choose to invest in the formal program or simply follow along with the free content Steve regularly shares, you'll be joining a community that understands the power of consistency, support, and sustainable change.